Hello everybody, Ace here, giving it to you straight with day 45 of the video log challenge, and today I wanted to talk to you about tools for Ascension symptoms, because this week is kicking my ass. So, it's only Wednesday, and it's been a long week, not of anything other than my body feeling like it's been run over by a bunch of trucks. And I've been able to understand throughout the last year, as I've been going through this ascension and becoming more aware of myself, more aware of my body, more aware of what's going on inside and what's going on inside of me, being able to remove what wasn't mine so that I could see what was. And then I removed all that, and what was left was physical symptoms that didn't make sense because the day before I feel amazing, and then the next day I feel like I just ran 4K, 5K, and I don't run right now. So I started to look into, is there symptoms to this whole ascension thing? I've talked about it a few times in some other videos, but ascension symptoms are very real because our bodies are actually changing. We're evolving. And so what's really happening inside of our bodies right now is that we have this dormant DNA, right? So the story goes that we only use 3% of our DNA. And when scientists, they did a geomapping, right, the genome project, and they mapped out the entire human genome, they were expecting millions upon millions of different amino acids and things like that, but it ended up only being about 100,000 amino acids that rearrange themselves perfectly for everything the body needs. And they had this whole theory they were going to go with, and all of a sudden they discovered that they were completely wrong. And since then, they've been trying to tell people about genetics and the genome, but in reality, they don't really know anything. They just, again, have that pay to play science that kind of just manipulates people into believing that, oh, I have a genetic disposition for heart disease, so therefore I'm going to have heart disease. So I'm going to continue to eat this way and behave this way and do these things. And look, oh, I have heart disease. See, it's genetic, but it's not. It's all environmental, and it all has to do with this exo-consciousness that we are creating the environment that we live in. And again, this week, I've been feeling a little fretty. I've been feeling a lethargic. I've been feeling bloated. I've been feeling a little frustrated, like I want to be somewhere I'm not. And these really aren't mine. And what I've also noticed about the ascension symptoms is that there are times when you're transmuting your own darkness, and then there are times where you're transmuting a darkness for the entire collective, especially if you're starseed or light worker, grid worker. We are literally bringing in that darkness. We are bringing in that low vibrational energy, and we're transmuting it into what Thoth calls magic science, which is just basically using science and using spirituality together, what I call emotionality, to then create the reality that we exist in. And I just watched a documentary yesterday that talked about the fact that the ancient Egyptians, who were all black skinned, and that was the big reason why the Romans and the Greeks went through and destroyed all the monuments to try to make it like they created all of it, was again because they didn't want everyone to know that basically the ancient Egyptians, who were all black, built our world because Thoth came from Atlantis and taught them all that. And so part of the ascension, right, is remembering where we come from, remembering the cradle of civilization, remembering the time of Atlantis and what transpired after that, what transpired after Thoth wrote the Emerald Tablets, leaving us with his wisdom that was then buried and sealed and hidden from us for thousands of years until just in the last couple of years, right? That it's very, very more it's easy to get to now. You can look up the Emerald Tablets on Google and it'll come up. They're not hiding that stuff because they don't think people really care. Or maybe they hope that people care. See, I really believe this whole thing is a giant movie that we're in right now, and that a part of this whole ascension and a part of all these ascension symptoms is our role that we're playing in this movie. Again, it's a massive multiplayer online role-playing game, right? Because I believe this is simulation. Massive multiplayer online role-playing game that's a movie, and it uses poker chips, and it's a giant risk game of chess with real rewards. It's brilliant. The deeper I go into trying to understand what this whole reality is, just the more of love it fills me with, the more light, the more just awe at how incredible this universe really is. And I am just scratching the surface. I am a toddler in this spiritual journey. That's what my higher self and my guides have been telling me. You're a toddler, Adam. Relax. Take it easy. See, I'm even making this video. I'm feeling better already just because I get to talk to somebody about it. I try to, a lot of times when I'm going through these ascension symptoms and I'm going through times where I'm not at my strongest point. I'm not vibrating at my highest point. I start to actually, I feel myself going into the old thought patterns I used to go into, the apathy, the, oh, this, and then picking random arguments with somebody in my head, and that's now, instead of going down those rabbit holes and trying to figure out what's going on with me, I now attempt to just surrender, let go, and accept that this is how I'm feeling, and then do what I can to alleviate it. But sometimes we got to sit in our shit and we got to feel it. And that's what I realized today, that I'm probably not going to do too much else after this video, because I just need to sit in this. I just need to feel it. And if I can take myself out of it, if I can take my personal ego out of it and just believe that I'm doing this for the collective, that I'm doing this for my benefit, then I can change my perspective on it. Because a lot of times, part of these ascension symptoms is our bodies get really messed up, right? And because our bodies are messed up, we start to try to figure out why that is, instead of just saying, I'm not my body, though I'm in charge of my body. My body's tired right now. It's lethargic. It's sore. It's not feeling very well. It's bloated. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to put good food in it. I'm going to hydrate it. I'm going to rest, because I am not my body. This body is a vehicle. It is a tool for me to co-create through. And if it's not in the shape I need it to be in that moment, then I need to respect this body. I need to take care of this body. And that is how I will transcend, and I will ascend even quicker. So what are some tools that you can use? For me, the HEMI-SYNCH has really helped, because it balances me out, because it's a guided meditation, but at the same time it uses binaural beats, which is sound therapy. And somebody who's dealt with PTSD and other mental health issues in my past, this really, really calms me down. It takes me out of fight or flight, because I still have those programs that I go 0-100, and then when I put on the tunes, and it just relaxes me. Hydrating, very important to hydrate, especially when you're going through ascension symptoms, because the body uses, we're 75% saline water. We're just giant electrical sacks of piss and shit, really, that are using this as a tuning fork to create our reality. And so the more water you put in it, and make sure that you do have enough salt in your system, the more that you'll be able to not only flush all the ascension symptoms and things, and detox and all the toxins out of your body, but then you'll also be able to increase your electrical load. And that's also where I'm going to move into balancing your micronutrients will really help with your ascension symptoms, because again, your body is using nutrients on a whole nother level. It's using different nutrients, and it's happening at the cellular level. So this DURT stuff that I drink, you can find it at lifeosity.com. I have the link below. This DURT stuff I drink, it's made with fulvic acid, right? There's two different kinds, but the one I'm drinking right now is DURT Black. It's made with fulvic acid. They mine it out of the southeast part of the United States, 200 feet underground, where this is beautiful topsoil that hasn't been disturbed or messed with GMOs and poisons and insecticides. And basically they're just mining it and then turning it into this liquid gold given by God. And it has 77 trace minerals in it, and it hydrates you down to the cellular level. It allows your DNA and RNA to replicate properly, especially as we're unlocking this DNA, because that is what really the ascension symptoms are all about. And why our bodies are going through this is because we're literally unlocking that dormant DNA, and we're bringing in more light, which means we're bringing in our frequency, right? We're raising our frequency so that we can push out greater vibrations. But as we raise our frequency, it's uncomfortable. It's not normal for us. It's not homeostasis. And so we get a little tense, and we don't know what to do, and we're fretting and everything. It's because we're literally increasing our frequency. And by putting in better food, by putting in better fuel, by putting in more water, by resting, by meditating, and by doing all these things I preach about, you're actually assimilating that light. You're assimilating that energy into your DNA more effectively, and therefore your ascension symptoms will be less than. And so there's a lot of people that will go down for 3 or 4 or 5, 6 days. I don't go down anymore, but I definitely am feeling it last couple days. So today I'm just going to focus on my diet. I'm going to eat a little bit more than I normally do, just to give my body that extra fuel to recover. And just listening to my body is my greatest tool for this ascension symptom, overcoming these ascension symptoms. Another thing you could do is make a video and just talk about it. You don't even have to post it, but just sitting there and speaking about it, and pushing out the energy from your body and talking about what you're going through, and then watching it back, maybe there's some connections there that'll help you move forward and let go some more. Again, using my stop, breathe, ask, listen, trust technique, and in order to then surrender, let go, and accept whatever comes to you, right? So now, what are some of the tools we were talked about already? We've talked about using meditation, guided meditations, binaural beats, sound therapy, hydrate your cells through fulvic and humic acid, electrolytes, sodium content, leafy greens, lots of fiber, lots of iron, lots of minerals, vitamin A, B12, B6, vitamin D, magnesium has really helped me at night. I mean, I preach a lot about the body because this is our experience. This is the entire experience is the body. And if we just feed it right and take care of it and love it and stretch it and yoga, there you go, another tool, stretching and yoga. Hey, it's breathing and it's active breathing. Go on a wizard walk like Sean talks about, where you just, you do intentional walking, where instead of you're in your head fretting about everything in your life, you walk and breathe and focus walking into your future. How about write out however you're feeling. Gratitude journal, write gratitude. There's so many tools that are free, that are here right in this very now moment that you can use to take yourself out of the ascension symptoms. But because we naturally are masochists, living in the society and culture and times that we do, we naturally kind of lean in to feeling poorly and feeling badly because it's our normal. And so instead of thinking, I don't feel good right now, what can I do to feel better? It's, I don't feel good right now. Why don't I feel good? There's something wrong with me? There's got to be something wrong with me. And that dialogue, that self-talk, that ego talk, which is actually telling you there's nothing wrong with you, you go back to the light, we chase that rabbit hole into the darkness. And we follow the ego voice instead of following the light voice. There's nothing wrong with you. You're fine. You're just going through some stuff right now. But we listen to this voice because it's easier and it's familiar than it is to go do the work, go through the uncomfortable of having to do a little bit of work when you don't feel good to make yourself feel a little better. And that's really what these ascension symptoms, I believe, are helping us from a 100,000 foot view, from a higher lens. What we're seeing is we're forced to do shit. We're forced to use our tools. We're forced to go within. We're forced to figure it out. Or we're forced to let go. We're forced to surrender. We're forced to accept. You know, it's beautiful. Even just talking about it now, I was not happy coming on this video at all. I literally meditated. I rested. I tried to do some work. I took a shower. I ate. I put in nutrients in my body, and I still was not feeling good. And I just said, you know what? I'm just going to jump on this camera and I'm going to say what I got to say, and I'm going to get off and I'll go like lay down or whatever. But just being here and talking and hearing what I'm channeling through the universe, because again, I'm not saying this from me. I literally say a prayer. I ask the universe to use me as a vessel. Every time I come onto these videos, I say, universe, please use me as a vessel to speak truth through. Allow me to speak truth and flow, and allow me to speak the truth to those who need to hear it when they need to hear it. I do some breathing techniques. I do a little hemming. I feel the sound, again, sound therapy. We can create our own sound therapy with our voice, right? That's what that whole thing is. That's what the ancient Buddhists and stuff are always humming for, because it literally hums out the emotional stuck points in your chakras and in your body. And then I jump on and I just start talking. But it's from my heart. I'm not thinking. And that's why half the time I'm like, dang, I need to be listening. I'm listening to this. I'm like, this is exactly what I needed to hear today. And I'm hoping that I get to actually channel other beings at some point, which I believe I will be able to. I had an experience the other day and it was awesome. So this ascension is working, you know what I'm saying? And it's not all bad. And ascension symptoms suck, but it means it's working. Was it fun when you went to the gym for the first time? They say the first 3 months and every day you were sore beyond anything you've ever felt before. And then eventually you just get used to it. And then all of a sudden it becomes something you miss. And it's what makes you feel like you have vitality, like you're alive. I'm not looking forward to the first 3 months getting back in the gym or getting back to that type of pain again. But these ascension symptoms are getting me there. It took me 2 years to surrender needing to go to the gym, needing to do this, needing to look like that, needing to eat this, to finally do what it is that I needed to do. I needed to do that for my vanity. I needed to do that for my ego. And now I'm doing what I need to do for this spiritual ascension, and so that I can then serve others by first serving myself more efficiently and effectively. And so if you're feeling like shit right now, And if you're going through ascension symptoms, you should be celebrating. That means you're awake at the hardest time it's ever been to be awake. Imagine waking up now. Imagine all of a sudden coming to out of your daze, out of your fog, and all of a sudden you're out of the matrix and you're like, what the fuck is happening? But you haven't. You've been there for a while now. I know I've been there for about 12 years, since 2008, since the financial disaster really opened my eyes. And then 2012 really opened my eyes too. But, and it wasn't until 2019 did I open my eyes to the spiritual side of this whole thing. So I've been woke from a human lens since 2008. But in reality, I didn't wake up to this spiritual ascension stuff, though I was going through it. I was going through the dark winter of the soul the whole time. I didn't wake up to this whole ascension thing until about March or April of 2020. Yeah, this year. And it was a missing piece for me to be able to make these videos, because now it connects the spirit with the human. And that's where I like to exist, is in the middle, on the bridge between human and spirit, right? I'm able to decipher, and I'm able to translate what's happening on the human side and the body side and the physical side and the mental side. But I'm also able to decipher and understand and explain what's going on from a higher lens, 5D spiritual sense. I found my lane. I found my spot because I've been doing things like this to help with my ascension symptoms, to help me with my ascension, because I was just drawn to it. Just like if you're watching these videos, you're drawn to it as well. That means you're meant to lead. That means that you're one of the first ones to be going through this ascension, and that the entire thing that you're doing, there could not possibly be wrong. You can't be wrong with the way you're going through ascension, because no one's ever done it. And we haven't done it yet. And we're the first. And we're the ones that are supposed to then help others. So just take note. Write a journal. Write an ascension journal. I started writing ascension logs because I meditate, and then whatever comes to me when I meditate, and I put that in ascension logs. Because this is going to be an incredible story in 20, 30 years. You don't know where this stuff's going to take you. Especially if you're like really into it. For me, that's all I want to talk about anymore. It's all I really care about. It's everything that I've always cared about. It's environmental science. It's physiology. It's mental health. It's emotional well-being. It's spiritual ascension. It's the creme de la creme of information, knowledge, and true communication for me. And because I'm embracing this ascension, I'm embracing how my body's changing by listening to it and not trying to force it to be something it's not. I'm 147 pounds right now. I was like 200 pounds at the beginning of this year. Swear. And I don't have all that extra skin, and I don't have all that. I don't have any of that. Because I've done it. I went nice and slow. Slow and steady wins the race. I followed my body. I listened to my body. I slowly eliminated things that were no longer serving me by just saying, doesn't make me feel good anymore. I'm not gonna eat that. That doesn't make me feel any good anymore. I'm not gonna drink that. It doesn't feel good being around that person anymore. I'm not gonna be around them. And the more you make those choices for yourself, the more you use these tools to help you through this ascension symptoms, the more that your body will then evolve and change to fit what it needs to be at this time. And though I'm only 147 pounds, and I don't think I've been this light since I was like 6. I'm not even joking. I was a fat kid growing up. Like, this is the leanest, smallest I've ever been. And one of my fears was being tiny as well. That's why I packed on so much muscle and I lifted the gym, was all insecurity. But I'm secure in myself now. I know I'm not this body. And so what does this body need? This body needs to shed everything that was killing me. This body needs to shed all the scar tissue, all the emotional trauma, all the stuff that's keeping my DNA from unlocking, from my spirit from ascending. And then over the next 2 years, I'm going to then be able to then rebuild it exactly how I always saw it in my mind. Functional, strong, malleable, flexible, sleek, lean. And what's so crazy is I don't need 200 pounds, I don't need 50 pounds of muscle in my frame. I just realized this. I never knew. My lowest I ever got to before this point was 167 pounds. I lost 20 pounds of emotional toxicity just this year. From my lowest point ever, I lost 50 to 60 pounds of emotional toxicity this year. But from my lowest I ever got to in my adult life at 167 pounds, even after Marine Corps boot camp, boom, 20 pounds of emotional toxicity. So how much emotional toxicity are you holding on to? And how much is that emotional toxicity affecting your ascension symptoms? Because you are hanging on to things that aren't serving you. You're hanging on to parts of you that are weighing you down. And because we're still choosing to eat the same, drink the same, we're actually then packing that in more, and we're not allowing our flower to blossom. And so way I looked at it is I was this big, I had to come down this small, everything had to crumble like the phoenix, right? Crashing in, and then I will come back bigger, better, stronger, faster, more healthy than ever. And here's the kicker. because I didn't work out through this physical transformation, now my joints have healed, my ligaments have healed, my shoulders, I had bad shoulders, bad knees, bad ankles, bad calves, bad quads, bad hamstrings, bad back, your vertebrae, everything. It's all wrapped in fascia. It's all wrapped in scar tissue. Because every time you get an injury that you don't heal properly, then you just build muscle on top of it, on top of it, on top of it, on top of it. What do you think that does? Scar tissue, scar tissue. It's like cement. So I know there's a lot of people out there feeling like me who, if you see yourself bloated and like puffy, and you can like touch it and stuff, especially women when you wear your bras and that little fluff comes out the side, that's emotion. That's your fascia holding emotional. It's almost like water, right? But it's not. It's like air. It's weird. It's all emotion. It's energy in motion. And we hold it all over our bodies, and then all of a sudden we don't know why we don't look the way we want to look, especially women who have cellulite. All cellulite is you have your fascia that looks like a matrix, and it's so tight because you're not hydrated and your cells aren't hydrated and the fascia itself isn't hydrated, and therefore it's hardened, and it stretches and it pushes the fat, your fat pustules through the matrix of your fascia, and it creates that bubble look on your butt and on your hamstrings. And if you were just to foam roll that and look up how to improve your fascia health, you'll actually get rid of that cellulite, which could actually help you with your security in your head. Because I know as I've lost all this emotional weight and started looking more like the version of myself I always saw, it motivated me to keep going and to keep going through the ascension symptoms and keep using the tools. Because this entire ascension is through the body. We are not ascending, we are ascended. That's the difference. We're hybrids, right? So we're gods in human. We're human beings. That's why it's called human being. I believe there were humans on the earth at one point before fractals of God were, I believe everything actually has divine intelligence, obviously, but before higher consciousnesses were coming into form, I believe that the Anunnaki actually created humans, hominids, right? 40 to 200,000 years ago, probably, to do their work for them, to be their slaves. And then I think the whole thing with the Ascended Masters and the stories in the Bible and Adam and Eve and all this stuff was to open up the gates of heaven, to open up these vessels for it so God fractals can come into it in experience form, because I believe the Anunnaki kind of took over the planet. So that's a whole nother story. I just went on a little tangent there. But anyway, just listen to your body in this. These ascension symptoms are just pure body. It's pure physical. Your human is going through the ascension. You're already ascended. You're just remembering. The more your body ascends, the more you remember, because you're going up and so is your body. While you're going from your head to your heart, you're actually ascending, right? From 3D to 5D. And the more healthy you become and the more you clear this temple, the more you gain access to your higher self. Through your higher self, you gain access to the keys. And then through the Holy Trinity of resonance, frequency, and vibration, which is used through this temple, you actually gain access to the living kingdom, heaven on earth. And then your remembrance, your Akashic records, your oversoul, where now you are the human being you designed yourself to be in a healthy vehicle that looks exactly how you want it to look. And then you get to just be blissed out all the time because you did it and you did it right. That's not to say that the rest of this path is going to be challenging. The rest of life, all of life will be challenging, guys. Like, we have to get over that. The entire thing is going to be challenging. That's the point. But the more we focus in on ourselves, on our health, on our bodies, on listening to our bodies, because these bodies are quantum computers. They're brilliant, much more brilliant than we are, than we think we are, especially our egos. This body knows what it needs. This body knows the blueprints of your life. It knows you better than you do. And if you were to just listen to it a little more and surrender, let go, and accept what your higher self is telling you about where to go, and stop throwing temper tantrums like a toddler, I promise you your path will be a lot less tumultuous. So, if you liked what you've seen and heard today, please hit that like button. If you want to join the Army of Energy, hit that subscribe button. Again, I don't have social media yet, so hit me up on the Gmail, domawolf@gmail.com. I'm on day 30, I think, of DURT and HEMI-SYNCH. I was already telling you about that. It's absolutely incredible. Helps me with the ascension symptoms a lot. So if you are feeling lethargic, if you are feeling bloated, if you're feeling like you went through a war zone, hydrate yourself. Hydrate your cells. Drink some DURT. Do some HEMI-SYNCH. Meditate. Binaural beats. So with that, I hope you get a little bit further on your path today. I hope you gain a little bit more clarity on your journey, and I hope you can bring a little bit more love into your heart so that you can listen to your body, be guided by your higher self, so that you can then move through these ascension symptoms and not own them as if there's something wrong with you. Because you are perfect, I am perfect, this whole thing is perfect, and only your body is ascending because you are a immortal fractal of God. So with that, I hope you have a wonderful day, a great afternoon, and I'll talk to you tomorrow at the same time. Goodbye.